Hey there, what's up, and welcome back to Fiverr Talks, everybody. How many of you have ever made a mistake? 100% of you, right? Well, today we're going to talk about how to recover from those mistakes, how to get back on track, and how to succeed in the next project. That's right, today we're going to dig into past archives, dig into a video I shot about a year ago about recovering from mistakes, because I believe this is becoming very relevant based on your comments, based on your interaction. There's a lot of people that are looking for advice and guidance on what to do next after mistakes happen, and I think this video will be really helpful for a lot of you. It's more conversational than our normal Monday video, which is high intensity, high octane teaching. This is like us sitting down and having a conversation together, and I think you're really going to enjoy it, so make sure you pay attention because this is very valuable content. What I want to talk about today is the art of making mistakes. And believe me, it's an art. If you run a business of any kind long enough, let alone one that is digital, that requires a lot of communication in written form, you are going to make a mistake. Whether it's a genuine mistake, something you realized and just wrote wrong, a typo, a missed communication, it happens. There are mistakes all the time, and it's our job to try to minimize our mistakes with great processes. But when you do make a mistake, how do you move past that with a customer? Because this relationship that you have with your buyers is built on trust. And when there's a mistake in that process, when you make a mistake, for just a brief glimpse, even if you're an honest person, you look dishonest. It's not saying you are. If you make mistakes, you're dishonest. No, that's not true. We all make mistakes. It means we're human. But for a moment, it makes you look dishonest. And it makes you look like someone that's hard to trust. And the only thing that can keep a buyer from believing that momentary glimpse of, are they dishonest, is how you follow the mistake. How you deal with and handle mistakes. And I believe it's best to have a plan for how you're going to handle mistakes, because it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if you make mistakes, it's a matter of when they occur. And when they occur, what you're going to do and how you're going to handle those things. Okay, so here's the scenario my team and I found ourselves in this week that we had to kind of get ourselves out of. We had a customer order a video, and we have specific styles of video. It's all outlined, different gig pages. They're completely separate services, even though they all cost the same. But we have 3 distinct styles of animation video that we do. We had a client order a specific type of video or style of video from us, and then as soon as they ordered, they messaged and said, I made the wrong order. I didn't want this style. I wanted that style. So instead of they ordered a color video, they wanted a whiteboard video, which is just black and white. And so we said, hey, no problem. We'll fix that in our internal project management software. We will go, we'll make sure that it gets done in that color, the style you want, the black and white. Well, we went to deliver this project on Friday, and as soon as we delivered, they chimed back and said, you didn't change it. You didn't do it in the black and white color style that we asked you to do. You did it in the original color we ordered, which we said was a mistake. And so we found ourselves smack dab in the middle of, we just created a video in the wrong style. And it was a rush project, something that was promised on Friday, and we delivered the wrong thing. Big mistake on our part. It doesn't happen very often. I could count on one hand how many times it's happened in 7 or 8 years, but it has happened maybe 2 or 3 times before. So I was not unfamiliar with the scenario. It sometimes happens when you have 50 or 60 projects open at once. So we had to follow what I'm about to outline for you, this kind of process to make sure that we owned this mistake and moved past it. So, the first thing that I think you should do in any scenario, if you make a mistake, is to own it. So you own it, say, that's our fault, that's our mistake, we are sorry, and you apologize. Owning it and apologizing are the first thing you do anytime that you make a mistake of any kind, even if it's small, even if it's getting someone's name wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought your name was Steve. I must have been thinking of someone else. No matter what it is, own it and apologize. That is the first step to resolution. If you make a mistake, and when you make a mistake, if you own it and apologize, then you are kind of like confessing that to your customer. I acknowledge that I made a mistake. It's not you. It's not blaming, not saying, well, if you had ordered the right thing in the first place, we wouldn't be here. No. We don't point fingers. We own it and we apologize. That does two things. That humanizes us and that shows that we're sincere. It's not an act, it's true. We really are sincerely sorry. And then we start to build things up. So we humble ourselves by owning it and apologizing. Then we start to build trust back up. We're rebuilding the wall of trust. And I think the important part of this process that people often miss is that you need to humanize yourself. And the way you do that is by telling your client about the real life circumstance that led to that mistake. So in our case, we had to say, you know what? We are incredibly sorry. That is our mistake. We simply forgot to change it in our internal project management software. Somehow we thought we did. We just didn't do it. And then so we went to create it. We based it on the original note we made, and somehow we missed the note to change that style for you. And so that is 100% our fault, and we apologize. It's very humanizing for you to explain the actual real life scenario that led to the mistake, because it gives you the opportunity to turn yourself and your experience into the mirror that will reflect your client's real life experience. It gives them the opportunity to say, gosh, I know what it's like to forget something or to think I did something and then find out I didn't. You know, like when my wife asked me to pick up the dry cleaning and I said, sure, I'll do it right after work. And I came straight home and just forgot. Who hasn't been there before? So by humanizing yourself and telling the story, you give them the opportunity to see themselves in the story, to see their own experiences there, and to build empathy. Because rebuilding a wall of trust is going to require empathy from the buyer. Now, there are some buyers it's hard to get empathy from. You're not trying to get them to feel sorry for you. That's sympathy. You're trying to get them to build empathy, which is they are understanding your situation and relating to it. So you need to own it, apologize, humanize yourself by sharing the real world story. And you need to do all that you can to mend the situation by offering special exceptions to the circumstance, maybe saying, you know what, the next time you order from us, we're going to give you 10% off just because we blew it here and we know it. And we want to say, if we're lucky enough to work for you again, or if you'd ever come back to us, we want to give you a little incentive. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, and this happens at Chick-fil-A all the time. I don't know about you, but I think that is the best chicken on the planet. And if it seems like if I go to a Chick-fil-A and anything is just like slightly inconvenient, they are so quick to rush out and go, you know what, you've waited a long time for this food. Here's a couple vouchers for free meals. Next time you come in, dinner's on us, because it shouldn't have taken us this long to get you your food. I'm always blown away. And so extend an olive branch that says, not only do I own this mistake, realize it's my fault, I told you why I made it, but I want to make it up to you somehow. That really does make a difference. Even if that person never comes back and takes you up on that, you know, Chick-fil-A knows that a lot of times those coupons get lost. People don't actually come back and buy those meals, but it says, hey, you not only realize you did something wrong, but you are willing to give up something to prove that you're really sorry. On Fiverr, you can't really offer a discount. Say, you know what, we'd like to give you a 10% discount on this price because they've already paid and there's no partial discounts. It's best to offer, some kind of incentive, some kind of discount, some kind of special offer for the next project if you're just so lucky to earn their business again. It's a gesture. It's an olive branch. It's a peacemaking offering that will allow you to do the most important thing, which is begin the process of working with your customer to find a solution. So once you've owned it, you've apologized it, you've shared your story, you've even offered an incentive to them to prove the sincerity of your apology, you need to start to work with that customer to find the best solution. And so sometimes that means asking questions. Just saying, you know what, we blew it. What can we do to make this up for you? obviously we want to remake this. In our case, we said we want to remake this video in the right style, and we're going to do it immediately. Unfortunately, that meant Monday morning, but that's the best we could do. We had to say that, and they were more than okay with that. We had to ask, what makes this situation, which is our fault, we get it, better? How do we make the best out of this bad situation? Don't acknowledge or don't ignore it. Just acknowledge it. Say, I'm sorry. This is a bad situation, but how do we make the best out of it from here? Knowing that we are where we are, how do we bet? What's the best solution for you from where we sit at right now? And allow them to give you that. Maybe sometimes they would say, maybe the solution is, yeah, you made a mistake, but this isn't all bad. We can maybe use this. Maybe we could do this instead. And maybe it's a solution that leads to less work for you in meeting their needs. And you're not just, following what you think is a great idea for a solution. You're following their idea for a great solution. And you're both working together to find that middle ground, a solution that works best for both of you. And I find whether it's a disagreement or a mistake, extending that olive branch of asking your customer questions. Hey, could you tell me, how can we best move forward from here? What can I do? Even if it's obvious, say, of course, we want to do this, we want to make it right, but what else can we do to make this, the best possible situation from where we are? And finally, the one thing I want to mention that is not a part of our situation this last week when we made a mistake, but something that happens oftentimes in the quoting process. This is when a lot of mistakes happen before the project starts and you're discussing something with someone. Often a mistake, the most common mistake that we make is we misquote somebody, or we miss an aspect of the project that causes us to quote somebody lower than what it actually costs. Later we find out it's longer, it's a bigger project, it's more than we thought it would be, more difficult to do. Rather than going back and asking for more money to correct your mistake, we misquoted you, honor any misquoted prices. If you misquote somebody and say, hey, we'd like for instance, if someone said, hey, we want a 4-minute video, and we said, yeah, that's great, that'll be this amount of money, and it's like half the price of a 4-minute video, and then they accept it and you get started and you realize, whoa, I just sent them an invoice or a custom offer for the wrong amount. Don't go back and ask them for the difference. Take it as a mistake. Maybe point it out and say, you know what? We just realized we underquoted you because, if they ever buy from you again, you don't want them to expect that it would be the wrong price for that service, and say, we just realized we misquoted you. We made a mistake. Own it, acknowledge it. And you don't owe us anything more, but we're just going to honor that price. Even though it was a mistake on our part, we're just going to honor that price. We're going to move forward. But just know in the future, if you order this, it would cost this. So you're getting a really great deal. It'll make them feel even better. And not that you made a mistake, but they're getting a deal in this case. And so, regardless of whether the mistake is made before, after, or during the project, you need to own it. You need to do all you can to make that person feel the best they can possibly feel about that situation from where they sit. Realizing that, hey, we can't fix this. We can't go back and not make this mistake. It's already done. We're human like you, and we're just trying to do the best we can. So from here, how do we fix it? And I believe if you do those things, you're humble. I have seen those tactics, those principles work over and over and over again. I've even seen new team members that I've brought on that often will bring these problems to me, mistakes that we've made as a team, and say, we made a mistake. We got this guy that we've got to explain it to, or this gal that we've got to explain it to. And they'll watch me follow this process and go, why does that work every time? I'm like, it just does. Humility, grace, honesty, it works 9 times out of 10. Why? Because that's what people want in the people they work for. They want humility, transparency, honesty, and they just want to move forward to make any bad situation the best it can possibly be without a bunch of hassle. So I think it'll serve you well in your business. And I really just thank you for joining me for this exclusive video right here on Patreon. I hope it gave you a little deeper insight into how my world works. It's not all perfect over here. I've been doing this a long time, and we're still making mistakes. We're still learning. We're still changing our processes to try to
reduce the amount of mistakes that we make, but I think that will serve you well. If you're humble, if you own your mistakes, you're transparent and honest, people will appreciate that. And we've even found people we've made huge mistakes for come back and be repeat buyers over and over and over again, all because of the way we handled those mistakes the first time around.
Hey, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you really enjoyed this content, please give me a thumbs up down below, maybe leave me a comment. And if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing by clicking this button right up here. If you're looking for another video, there's another one over here. And until next time, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.